Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, December 29th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol SNES. Very big mover today. And now we have ourselves a good solid pattern here. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. First part of the pattern is this upper portion of the resistance right at that area. And then bottom part of the pattern, you have this area of support right there. Let me change that to green to represent the support and then make this easier to see. Let's keep it all one color now. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the huge upwards move right there. For you golfers out there, try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. So this would be a bull pennant pattern. And while there are no guarantees, is it valid? Is it plausible to think that the price could come down to the bottom part of the pattern, get a bounce, come up to this area and potentially break up through, and that break in and of itself creating good solid buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible outcome. Again, there are no guarantees, but I don't think that would shock anybody just given the nature of technical patterns. So if you like bull pennants, you like stocks down below $5, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol BETS, and the pullback here has continued on this one. But overall, the chart is fine. It's holding above supports. It's holding above moving averages. And this is where a little bit of perspective comes into play, meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, or you bought, back here, and your plan was to buy and sell within, 12 minutes, well, then from that standpoint, yeah, the chart looks pretty rough. But assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, the chart still has plenty of opportunity to build a higher base and illustrate that. You can look at it a couple of different ways. You could just simply look at that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average, which I've talked about in past videos. And if you just want to use that as a trend line that's going to draw itself for you, that works. In fact, you can see right there, absolutely beautiful bounce right off that purple line. And that'll mean a little bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, because I talked about that being an area of support and did a good job of, bouncing off that level. So moving forward, like I said, as long as the price stays above that purple line, the trend is up. Even if the price were to go down below it, you still have that level right there at 0093 as an area of support. And I point all that out because even if the price just hangs around this area, think about where the previous consolidation area was right there, and the previous lows down there, and then there's even a little bit of further lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, you still have stair steps making progress in the upward direction, and that's the name of the game. That's what you want to see, progress. And in this situation, quote unquote progress being defined as 0093. So all in all, sure, not the most exciting day, but the price does still have the opportunity to build that higher base. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA. Bigger pullback today, but as I've said on past times, overall this thing is still very, very much so in an overall uptrend, as you can see here. So yes, if you're a day trader and you bought up around there and you wanted to buy and sell within, that 12-minute time frame, then yes, the chart looks bad for you. But assuming you care about the big picture of things, this is just simply a pullback. The one update, though, does need to be done, which is just based on a foundational rule in charting, states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And you can see that played out perfectly today. Price broke down below it and then acted as resistance a few more times right there. So I'm not saying the price can never get back up above the 29.50 mark. I'm just saying that it makes sense why the price is struggling at that area. And if there is going to be any sort of continuation of the trend, then 29.50 is certainly public enemy number one. In terms of levels of support, like the one we just looked at, you're going to want to watch that purple line, 50 period moving average. So far, so good. Maintaining above it there, and it's basically hovering right at it as I speak. In the event the price does not quite hold above it, the next key area of support after that would be down there right around the $27 mark, which is essentially that gap close location. So again, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, today was just simply a pullback, but overall, the chart is still plenty bullish. Next one here, ticker symbol NIO, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched previous videos, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that area up there of resistance at the $9.60 mark. And that is exactly right where the price got rejected from there. So doesn't mean that it can't break above that area. Just pointing that out because it makes sense why the price did struggle. Good news is the price is still well within striking distance. Does not need to travel that far of a distance before it can do battle and before you can throw out the question mark again of, okay, maybe this time, is this the time where the price breaks through that level? So 960 again remains that key area of resistance. As far as supports, nothing bad going on. Price is still above the purple line. 50 period moving average. Price is still above that green line that I talked about previously. So all in all, good day, nice little in fact, maybe some would totally disagree with this, and I wouldn't push back. But I mean, maybe a little bit of a miniature bull flag pattern there. Again, if you're like, no, Clay, that's a square peg through a round hole, I'll respect that. I can see that. But I don't think that's totally crazy on my part. But nonetheless, even with that bull flag pattern, you still do have that 960 mark that you'll need to keep an eye on to see if the price can actually get enough momentum to break up through it. Next one here, AMC, and a wild, wild day. Although it's kind of, we'll see. And to explain that, but going into the day, there was this sideways channel pattern that I've been talking about the past couple of times. I've done videos on it. And then, yes, this morning, what an absolute beautiful, huge breakout of the upside of the channel. Massive run. And then now all of a sudden, you see the price has gone all the way back to basically right where the breakout was. And if you look closely enough, essentially has closed and is back inside of this channel. Now, there is still about 10 more minutes before the market officially closes. So I can't say for sure that it's closed within the channel. But the first question you're going to want to ask yourself is, where did the price close relative to $6.20? If you're answering that question, will the price close down below $6.20? Then that means the price is literally still stuck within this channel, even though it was way up above it at one point during the day. If you're answering the question that the price is above $6.20, well then, okay, how far above it? And that would be a good sign, because the further up above the channel it can get, then that just means, and that leads us to believe, okay, you can have that much more confidence that an actual break has occurred. But right now, you can't even say a break has occurred because the price is basically right at that level. So crazy day today, but to think it gave up all those gains and very well may close still inside of that sideways channel below 620 is pretty wild. But overall, a relatively disappointing day, I would say. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online web class that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage. Now, one note, it is a genuine live class. So a couple of situations, maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening and you can't make it, or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you just completely missed it. Go ahead, send me an email and I can send you a link to a replay so that you can still watch it if you can't make it live. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up and I'll see you here in a few hours. Next one here, ticker symbol MBOT. Very, very nice mover and very, very nice afternoon. Now, granted, the price is sitting right here at this level of $2.13. $2.12. And you can see right now, as I speak, it's actually up above it. But this leads, and that's why I like to do this when the market's open, because check it out, maybe we'll see it even push even higher. But this is always, an exciting question to be asking. And the question is this: is this the start of something even bigger? It's broken this high right here. Is this the start of a much bigger breakout? Now, to be fair, maybe not. Maybe this is some sort of fake move and this thing's just going to roll right back over. But that is a two-sided coin, because, maybe it is the start of something even bigger. And maybe this thing just continues to rip and roar on Friday. And that's what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not randomly rushing out and buying stuff, but watching it. So if you like to play these scenarios, then here you go. Breakout is starting. You get to ask the question, is it the start of something bigger? And you may say, well, what's exciting about that? I already missed the breakout. And that's fine, but think about the question. It makes no sense to ask the question, is this the start of something bigger, if nothing worthwhile ever happens in the first place? But something worthwhile has happened. So sure, maybe you missed that, but if this is the start of something even bigger, then you don't want to if you like to play these sorts of setups, of course, you don't want to miss out on the secondary move. Next one here, AMD, the upwards move continues. And the uptrend continues. Yeah, there's a little bit of a pullback here, but that's where I'm going to get rid of that. The nice little pattern here that has formed. And this is one of these situations where I'm not trying to press you. I'm not trying to imply that nobody else has seen these levels or anything like that. In fact, I would say a lot of people have probably noticed this dynamic right here. So let me get these levels in play. And then nothing new. You've already heard this pattern, but I'd say the biggest difference is this is on a bit of a higher price stock. So resistance, support, nice upward move there, whether you want to call that a bull pennant or bull flag. I wouldn't get too far down that rabbit hole of getting those terminologies. But the point here being is you do have a nicely defined pattern. And on top of that, and I would say the cherry on top, is a very well-known stock. AMD, sort of a popular stock these days. Now, that still does not guarantee anything, but as far as self-fulfilling prophecies or whatever you want to call it, does it add just that much more credibility that if the price were to come up here and get the breakout, that break could very well gain that much more buying pressure because you're going to have that many more eyeballs watching it because it is such a popular stock? In my opinion, absolutely. So if you like these sorts of situations on these price stocks, maybe do options, I definitely keep an eye on AMD. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and a very, very rough day today, especially when you just factor in how nice of a day it started. I mean, gapped up, ran all the way up there, and then after that, I mean, I'm not going to say straight down, but very close to straight down. So I hope people were using stop losses because a brutal day for Tesla. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose. First big update comes about on that rule. When levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. So if there is any sort of attempted, turnaround back upwards, you have that 258 mark, which as of right now, that purple line is at the same level, but that is the 50-period moving average. So as time plays out, that line is going to start to move itself downwards, and it'll step in front of the 258 mark. But as of right now, they're basically the same exact value. So if there is some sort of bigger attempted bounce on Friday, 258 will definitely be, I don't want to say an impossible area to break, but it'll definitely be one that I would expect to be relatively stubborn. With that being said, if this downwards momentum continues, which, yeah, no doubt about it, a lot of downwards momentum, you got to think that there's going to be all sorts of eyeballs watching that pink line down there, which on my charts denotes the very well-known, the very famous 200-period moving average. So we can once again introduce that talking topic of self-fulfilling prophecies, especially when it's Tesla. So Tesla, another one of those very, very well-known stocks. So I'm not saying that the price is headed down there, but what I am saying is if it does, no guarantees, but is there a chance that it could bounce? In my mind, absolutely. Next one here, ticker symbol WULF. Another nice mover here. In fact, just to add some context, very nice overall uptrend and started off today very nicely. And then a bit of a pullback here, nothing huge. And I would say some well-defined levels. So you got to think a lot of people are going to be watching this area right up here around $3.15. Essentially 3 times, once, twice, 3 times the price got up there and couldn't quite push through it. The good news, though, is that the price is still well within striking distance. So it would not be unreasonable at all to think that the price could get back up there on Friday. And then we get to, ask the question, can the price break through it? And then you get to ask that secondary question. If it does, okay, is that the start of something even bigger? So given the fact that it is so close to it, makes it very interesting, especially if you like this price range and you're a breakout player. If you prefer more so pullbacks, then an interesting level from that. No, I don't want that. I wanted a trend line. Interesting area from that is this little trend line right down here. And then just real quickly, because I can't help myself from a pattern standpoint, resistance, support, upwards move there. So there is a form of a bull pennant here that is forming. But also, if you don't want to overcomplicate it, really in my mind, very interesting level of support right there. But the most interesting dynamic, just because I think so many people are going to be watching it, is all about that 315 mark and seeing if the price can break it. Next one here, ticker symbol TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. And this had, NASDAQ had a rougher day, gapped up, and then pulled back. Nothing crazy. I mean, from the big picture standpoint, there's nothing terrible going on. I'm just saying that relatively speaking, from where the price was at its highs to where it's, pulled back to, not the greatest of days. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level there as I think it served its purpose. Because from a resistance standpoint, I think we have a much more well-defined level, and that's going to be via that trend line right there. So I'd say to keep an eye on that from a resistance standpoint. And then support-wise, kind of a double whammy right now. We have both that purple line there, which you now know is the 50-period moving average, and we also have the green line right there at the 5110 mark. And you can see both those areas are basically at the same location right now. So that certainly doesn't guarantee a bounce, but I would, if the bears are going to press down through that, I would say that they better bring their A game, better bring a lot of strength, because I would think that that's going to be a relatively stubborn area of support. But really, as straightforward as that, as far as I'm concerned, main area of resistance, main area of support. And yeah, if you wanted to, you could draw some sort of pattern here and try to draw some sort of bull pennant, but I'm not going to necessarily do that, or at least call it a bull pennant, because I think that's overcomplicating it, because we have a well-defined 5110 support, well-defined resistance trend line right there. So let's see how it closes out on Friday. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for that free class. It'll be this evening, Thursday, December 28th. At 7 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. But if you can't make it live for whatever reason, go ahead and send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a replay link to it. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment, say hi, wish me Happy New Year, tell me what you traded today. Just put any kind of comment along with hitting that like button. Really helps out the algorithm, helps out the channel, and I really do appreciate it. So hit the like button, leave a comment below, get signed up for that class, or if you can't make it live, then go ahead and drop me an email, and hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours.